No response. So I assume everybody has wonderfully done it. Okay, so shall we start with the next unit? Any idea what the next unit is all about? Are you able to see the PPT? Anirudh, can you just confirm why there is no response from Anirudh today? Are you there in class? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So if Anirudh is not there in the class, the entire class is mum, huh?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, I'm there. Yeah. We're asking about the test, is it?
Yeah.
It was good, ma'am.
So the entire A section and C section, only Anirudh speaks, huh? Okay, so you can see the portions for the second unit. So second unit is all about mining frequent patterns, association rule mining. Mining frequent patterns, another name for it is association rule mining, wherein you will be learning about what is called market basket analysis. I had given a brief about it in the first unit when we discussed the various data mining techniques. Then we will discuss the various algorithms associated with it. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do in the second unit. Understand and apply the association rule mining techniques. Fine. Okay. So already when the first unit, I had told that frequent pattern mining. Okay, so that is actually a major concern, especially for business, because it plays a major role in finding the association and correlation. Okay, so I have put in the slide, you can see something called market basket analysis being put. Okay, so what is this basically, this market basket analysis? You can say it's a business technique or a modeling technique which will help you to identify which are the items which are being purchased together in a particular shop or wherever. Okay, for example, in a supermarket, you will be having a lot of items like tea, coffee, milk, sugar, and all these things would be there. Okay, so among these items, the customer will buy a subset of many of these items as per the requirement. For example, a person might buy milk. Along with the milk, sugar might be bought, or along with the milk, tea powder may be bought. Okay, so all these transactions, whatever is happening, will be recorded, and then later that particular information can be used in order to arrange the arrange the items in a supermarket. Okay, so that will help you to find out the perfect location where the items can be bundled and kept in a store. Okay, so that therein they can improve their sales. Okay, so if a customer buys coffee, then there is a possibility that the customer may buy a milk or a sugar along with that particular coffee. Okay, otherwise, for example, if you go to Big Bazaar, you will see all these what do you call the bakery items, the biscuits, the chips, the chocolates. So they're all bundled together. Okay, so why the shopkeeper is keeping all these things is it's to make the customers comfortable to buy all these products together in the same place. Okay, so many transactions might have found that all these items are being, combinedly purchased by the customers. Okay, or in case you go to your, just a second, remove my mask. in case you go to McDonald's, in case you go to your McDonald's or to your Pizza Hut, so you might have come across what is called as combo offers, like all these pizza, then say Pepsi or Sprite together, along with the breadstick or whatever, or some wrap or some sort of combo will be there. Okay, and again, you would have noticed that for these combos, your McDonald's or Pizza Hut will be giving a very good offer compared to the other items which are being, given, sold individually. Okay, so have you ever thought why is that? Okay, so the actual reason is the shopkeeper is under the assumption that the customer who buys a pizza may also buy a Pepsi or a Coke, or buy some breadsticks. Okay, so if you make combos of this, it will be easy for the customers. At the same time, he can also increase his sales performance. Okay, so these are all marketing tactics or business tactics, right? So whatever I just told you, the two examples, whatever I told you, the Big Bazaar example, the tea, coffee, sugar example, or the Pizza Hut example, these are all actually what is called your examples of your association rule mining or frequent pattern mining. These are all association rules in data mining. Okay, so when you say frequent pattern, so that's nothing but the patterns which will be occurring frequently in a data set. Okay, so you will be able to identify some similar characteristics, some associations. Okay, so by doing all these frequent pattern mining, and these, when you say data sets, it might be in some databases. When you say databases, it can be transactional databases, or in some repositories, or in some relational databases, or some other data repositories. Okay, so that's what your frequent pattern mining is all about, and the data sets associated with your frequent pattern mining. Okay, then again, when you're given a set of transactions, so what this technique is doing is, or what this association rule mining basically does is, you're trying to find out the rules, some sort of rules, so that will enable us to predict the occurrence of a specific item based on the occurrence of other items in that particular transaction. Okay, so that's what we basically try to understand or find out as far as the association rule mining is concerned. Okay, so now before we move on to the techniques that are involved in association rule mining, the algorithmic part, there are two important metrics which we should try to understand, because these two metrics, whatever I have projected in the PPT right now, so these two will provide a measure of these are two metrics. Okay, so that will provide a measure of whether that particular association rule is good enough, or it is strong enough, or whether it is qualified to be used or not for a particular data set. Okay, so these are not the only metrics available. There are n number of metrics available. So among them, these two metrics, what is called, it is the support and the confidence, which will give us a good understanding regarding the goodness of the frequent pattern, that whatever you have mined out. Okay, so first let's try to understand what is support. Are you all listening? No one is listening, huh?
Yes, ma'am, listening.
Only Pranav is listening. Adya, put some yes in the chat window, just to ensure that I am not talking to one or two in the class of 54. Otherwise, I'll assume that all of you are sleeping. Okay. Okay, thank you, fine. So there are people listening, I'm happy. Right, so let's continue. Okay, so first let's try to understand. Okay, so what is support? Okay, so as per the definition, what it says here is good. I'm happy to see all the responses. So people are not sleeping, they're all listening. Okay, so please, rather than just simply sitting in front of the system, please note down certain things. It's not any notes or anything, at least the headings, whatever is being done in the class, please make a note of the headings. Okay, right. So it's a percentage of transactions in which the items appear. Okay, so when you say support, it's nothing but how much a given rule appears in the database that is being mined. Okay, so the the equations for computing the support is given. Okay, so when you say support from A to B, what it implies is the number of tuples. When I say tuples, it is nothing but the rows or the records. Okay, the number of tuples containing both A and B divided by the total number of tuples. So the n, what is being shown here in the equation, is the total number of records that you have, or the total number of tuples that you have. So in other words, you can say frequency of A comma B divided by n. Okay, or support of A implies B. In the, what it means is, it is A union B, that is number of tuples of both A and B. P of A union B, that is number of tuples containing both A and B divided by the total number of tuples. Okay, so that's what. So the percentage of transactions in the database that contains both A and B. Okay, so that's what the support percentage tells you. Next is what is called the confidence. Okay, so support is basically the popularity of the item. Next is confidence. Okay, so confidence, you can see the equation out here. So confidence, what it says is the number of times a given rule turns out to be true. Okay, so the number of times, the frequency or the number of times a particular rule turns out to be true in practice. Okay, so that is what is called your confidence. Okay, so it is nothing but, you can see confidence of A to B. What is this called? When you write this, all of you have studied maths. Okay, so what does this indicate? It's written as support count of A union B divided by support count of A. Heard of something called conditional probability? Probability of B by A. Total number of tuples containing both A and B. That is what is written in the quotient. Numerator, not quotient, in the numerator, divided by the total number of tuples containing A. Okay, so please make a note of it. I'll give you a small question right now, and you compute the support and confidence and tell me what it's how much it is. Okay, so these are the two metrics which is popularly being used in association rule mining. Of course, there's one more popular one. I mean, the third one is also there, lift, but then it's not being mentioned in your textbook, so I've not taken it into account. There is one more called lift. Okay, so support is all about the percentage of transactions in which the items occur. Okay, so yeah, frequency of A comma B divided by n. Total number of items in A and B divided by the total number of records. Whereas confidence means total number of tuples containing both A and B divided by the total number of tuples containing A. Nothing but your conditional probability. That's what is put here. P of B by A. Support count of A union B divided by support count of A. Okay. So now, how do you get these values? Somebody tell me, how do you get these values? I'm given a transaction database. There are how many transactions are there? I'm having 5 transactions here. I'm having 5 transactions here. So in transaction 1, what are the items? Items A, B, and C are occurring. In transaction number 2, A, C, and D are occurring. And in transaction 3, A, B, C, D is occurring. And in transaction 4, A, D, E is occurring. And in transaction 5, B and C are occurring. Okay, so there are n number of rules which can be found out. Okay, so let's say the one of the rule which I have used to demonstrate this example is A implies D. Okay, A gives D or A implies D. Okay, so what is the support and confidence for this particular rule? Okay, I've given the answers here, but then somebody tell me, how do you get it? Okay, so there can be n number of association rules. So one such rule is A gives D. Fast. How do you get the support as 3 by 5? What is 3? Or how do you get 3? What is 5? 5 is total number of tuples. How many tuples are there? How many records are there? 5. So T1 to T5, 5 records are there. How do you get 3? How do you get 3? Come on,
the number
somebody
of times
answer.
the number of times A and B occur together.
Yes. Very good, very good. Number of times A and D occurs together. So you can see here, A and D is occurring once here, twice here, third time here. So that's why you get 3 here. 3 divided by the total number of tuples. Very good. Then coming to confidence. What about confidence? The same measure, A and D appearing together, divided by the total number of occurrence of A. A occurs how many times? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 times. So 3 by 4. Okay. So that's how you calculate the confidence. Okay. Right. So I hope you have understood. Okay. So no response means let me assume everybody has understood. Okay. So now, right now we have got an idea regarding what are these terms, what is this support, what is this confidence, and all these things. So now we can move towards your frequent pattern mining. That's what we are more concerned about. Okay. So when we say frequent pattern mining, there are two categories which needs to be considered. Okay. So one is we need to look into the techniques or algorithm which deals with mining frequent patterns with candidate generation. Second one is mining frequent patterns without candidate generation. Okay, so first we will look into this category. Okay, so the a priori algorithm about which we are going to discuss right now. So that comes under the category of mining frequent patterns with candidate generation. Okay, so this is a very popular algorithm which is being used in association rule mining. Second cycle test, definitely I'll give you a problem from this. Okay, from one of the ARM techniques, association rule mining techniques. Okay, so first let's look into this. Okay, so I'm not straight away displaying the algorithm and explaining the algorithmic steps. Rather than that, I'm going to give you an example, how it is being worked out, how it is being used, and then we'll come to the algorithm. So that will make you the concept better. Okay, so also I will demonstrate it with Google Colab. Okay, so first make a note, put a heading in your notebooks, a priori algorithm. Okay, so this a priori algorithm, it's generally used for mining frequent product sets and to get the relevant association rules. Okay, so generally this a priori algorithm operates on databases containing a large number of transactions. Okay, for example, your customers of the Big Bazaar compared to your other supermarkets, they'll be having a very huge customer base. Okay, so a priori algorithm will help the customers to buy their products with little more easiness, and thereby the store performance can be improved. Okay, so that's what this a priori algorithm is all about. So I have displayed the assumptions on which the a priori algorithm is being built. So what it says is all subsets of a frequent item set is frequent, and again subsets of infrequent item sets must be infrequent. Okay, so to make this concept little more clear before we start with the example, the same big basket example, I'll just give you an example. Okay, so with that scenario, so let us say our big basket is having 4,000 customers. There are 4,000 customer transactions, 4,000 customer transactions happening in Big Bazaar. Okay, so yeah, out of these, from these 4,000 customer transactions, whatever is happening in Big Bazaar, you have to calculate the support and confidence for two products. Okay, so let's say your biscuit and chocolate. Okay, I want to compute the support and confidence for biscuit and chocolate, because generally, I mean, the common assumption, people who buy biscuit will also buy chocolate, or these customers will frequently buy these two items together. Okay, so out of the 4,000 transactions, there are 400 which contains, let's say, biscuits. 400 are there containing biscuits, 600 are there with chocolate, and out of this 600, okay, so I mean, yeah, let's say 200, 200 out of these things, 200 contains both biscuit and chocolate. Okay, 200 transactions are having both biscuit and chocolate. Okay, so with this, if we try to calculate the support and confidence, what could be the values? Okay, so first let's compute the support of biscuit and chocolate. I already told that support means the default popularity of any product. Okay, so how will you compute the support of biscuit? Support of biscuit means all the transactions having biscuit divided by the total number of transactions. So that will give you the support of biscuit, or you can say the default popularity for biscuit. Okay, so in this case, what will be the popularity for biscuit or support for biscuit? What are the transactions relating to biscuits? We have 400 transactions. So 400 divided by the total number of transactions, that is 4,000. So 10%. Okay, so the support count for popularity for biscuit is 10%. Then the next is confidence. What about the confidence? I hope people are listening. Okay, so confidence means the possibility that the customers are buying both your biscuit and chocolate together. Okay, so how do you compute the confidence? Confidence will be what are all the transactions relating to both your chocolate and biscuit. So how many are there? Nityashree, how many are there? C section, Nityashree.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many are there? Transactions relating to both biscuit and chocolate?
200.
Not yes. 200, that's it. 200 divided by the total number of transactions involving biscuit. Total number of transactions involving biscuit is 400. Okay, so confidence will be transactions involving biscuit and chocolate, that is 200, divided by the total number of transactions involving biscuit, that is 200 by 400. That is 200 by 400 means half, 50%. Okay, so 50%. So I can say that 50% of customers, whoever is buying biscuit, is buying chocolate also. Okay, so 50% of the customers buying biscuit and chocolate together. Okay, so that's the concept. Okay, so all these are being used in business transactions. More popularly, these data mining techniques are and association rule mining, market basket analysis, they're all being used in business purposes, increase the sales and profit of business by giving good offers and discounts, and how to attract by attracting the customers in with suitable strategies. Okay, so now let's work it out. Let's work out an example. I hope you have understood what this association rule mining is all about, what the two metrics are all about, support and confidence. And now I told you there are two techniques for association rule mining. Finding frequent patterns with candidate generation and without candidate generation. So first we are looking into an algorithm for frequent pattern mining with candidate generation. Okay, so please make a note of this in your notebook, this transaction database. I want all of you to work out. And after that, I'll give you a folder. You're going to upload this in the GCR. This is to ensure that all of you are working it out. Okay, so we have around 10 transactions here. Sorry, 9 transactions. Make a note of it. Consider the following data set. You find the frequent item sets and generate the association rules for them. We are trying to find out what are the frequent item sets. Okay, so this is already given to you. You are being given that the minimum support count is 2 and the minimum confidence is 60. Okay, so whatever is below, when you're computing the confidence, if you come across items with confidence less than 60%, you can tell that they are not likely to be purchased together frequently. Less confidence. Okay, again, whichever doesn't satisfy this minimum support count can be removed. They can be called as infrequent transactions or infrequent item sets. Okay, so let's try to identify those. Then remove the ones which are not satisfying the minimum support count. Okay, then finally at the end, let's compute the confidence and see which are strong rules and which are weak rules. Okay, so we have 9 transactions: T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, and T8, T9. Okay, fast. I need to work it out in all practically also. Okay, so first what we do is we create a table. Step 1, k equal to 1. Okay, so you're creating a table containing the support count of each item present in the data set. So this is actually what is called C1, candidate set. For example, I1. I1, how many places are you having it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so compute the, it's nothing but the frequency count of each, frequency count of occurrence of each item. Okay, I1 occurs 6 times in 6 transactions. I2 occurs in 7 transactions. I3 in 6. I4 in 2. I5 in 2. Okay, so now, are there any items which doesn't support the, which doesn't satisfy the minimum support count? Okay, minimum support count is 2. Okay, so all transactions. So you're comparing the item set support count with the minimum support count, that is nothing but 2. If anything is there less than that, we can remove that. Okay, but then right now we don't have anything beyond, below that. Okay, so either it is equal to 2 or more than 2, 6, 7 and 6. So we maintain all the items. I1, I2, I3, I4, I5 are maintained. Okay, so now going one level up. Okay, so next we are, please, I hope all of you are making a note of it. Making a note of it. Okay, so now we are step 2, k equal to 2. So now this is what is called the joining step. So far we had atomic items. So now we are going to combine items, wherein this is called C2, I mean join step. Okay, so combine the various items. Find out all possible combinations. Find out all possible combinations. I1, I2, I3, I4, I1, I3, I1, I5. Write down all the various combinations. Identify all the various combinations. Okay, so now we have to check whether the subset of this item is frequent or not. Okay, so then write the corresponding support count. For example, I1 comma I2. I1 comma I2. I1 comma I2, how many places it is coming? I1 and I2 combinedly. I1 and I2 combinedly, it's coming in how many places? One is here, I1 and I2. 2, 3, 4. In 4 places, I1 and I2 is coming combinedly. Okay, or bought together. Okay, business terms, if we say bought together. So that's what is being mentioned out here. Okay, so same way, find the support count for each and every item. So now when we see I4 and I5, I4 and I5 are not being purchased together at all. Okay, so they are not being purchased together at all. Okay, so so that's why it's having a support count of 0. Okay, so next we have to refine the transaction database by removing those items that don't satisfy the minimum support count. So what can we remove? This is not satisfying, this is below the minimum support count, this is below, this is below, this is below. So remove that and create your new set. Okay, so those are all infrequent. So that's the first assumption what we had in our a priori algorithm. Subsets of frequent item sets must be frequent. Subsets of infrequent item sets must be infrequent. So that's the assumption on which we are doing this. Okay, so next, similarly proceeding to the next step. Next step, joining 3 items. Joining 3 items, the different combinations, see whether you have any more combinations. There could be cases where you have more combinations, but then it's not satisfying the minimum support count. So I have eliminated it straight away. Okay, so these are the 2 item sets which I come up. Okay, so yeah, I1, you have combinations like I2, I3, I4, but then it's not frequent, so you remove it. Subset is not frequent, so you remove it. Okay, so based on that, so you have this I1, I2, I3, and I1, I2, and I5. Okay, support count is 2, so it is not less than the minimum support count, so we still retain them. Okay, so we still retain them. So moving up, we go to the next level join stage. It is basically joining and pruning. Pruning is nothing but eliminating. Elimination is based on the minimum support count. Out here we have given the minimum support count to be 2. Okay, so now when we come to the step 4, okay, so now we have I1, I2, I3 and I5. Okay, so this is the only one what we have, I1, I2. Okay, so you check all the subsets of these item sets are frequent or not. So here the item set formed by joining L3 is I1, I2, I3 and I5. So its subset contains I1, I3 and I5, which is not frequent. So no item set in C4. There is no item set because this cannot be used because its subset is not frequent. So there are no item sets in C4. So there is no point in continuing further. So we stop here because no frequent item sets are found further. Okay. So now we have found these are the frequent item sets. When we move to the 4th stage, we don't have any frequent sets for which the subset is also frequent. Okay, though we have a set called I1, I2, I3 and I5, but then we are not considering that because its subset is not frequent. Okay, so we stop with this stage. Okay, so now what we have done is we have discovered all the frequent item sets. What are the frequent item sets? We have I1, I2 and I3. So you can take it in business terms. Business, I mean chocolate, biscuit and Pepsi, or similarly, I1 can be chocolate, I2 can be biscuit, I3 can be Pepsi. So that way, that's what these items represent. Okay, so we have now discovered all the frequent item sets. Okay, so now we need to now next is you need to generate association rules. Okay, and see how strong the rules are by computing the support and confidence. Okay, so for that we need to calculate the confidence of each rule. Okay, so confidence, you know already how it is. Okay, so let's take the first one. I1, I2, I3. Okay, so there can be different combinations of rules. This can be one rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I have all the different combinations of rules based on I1, I2 and I3. Okay, so yeah, so for all the different combinations, you compute the confidence and compute the confidence. So when you compute the confidence for this particular item set, that is your frequent item set, you see that the first 3 rules are having a confidence level of 50. Okay, so the remaining are all 33%, 28%, 33%. Okay, so what was the initial assumption what we had? That the minimum support count is 2 and the confidence should be 50%. If it is below 50%, we consider them as weak association rules. Okay, so these are the strong rules what we have found as through your frequent pattern mining through candidate generation by making use of your a priori algorithm. So for this, the confidence is 50%. The second rule, I1, I1 and I3 implies I2. I1 and I2 implies I3. I2 and I3 implies I1. Okay, so these are the only strong rules what we have come across. Okay, so that's what your association rule mining is all about. You have found out frequent patterns from a transactional database. Okay, we considered a database with 5 records wherein we found that these are the frequent ones. Okay, so now it has some disadvantage. It's slow compared to other algorithms. We'll be discussing FP growth and other algorithms in the further classes. And then another disadvantage is the overall performance can be reduced if it scans the database multiple times. So this is another disadvantage of your a priori algorithm. So now I'll show you the demonstration using a Google Colab. Okay, so a priori algorithm using a real world data set. Okay, so I am using the data set called storedata.csv, which I have downloaded from Kaggle. Okay, so to use this, are you all able to see this Colab what I have opened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So to use this a priori association rule mining using a priori algorithm, we need to install APY-ORI package. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm importing that and downloading. Then your Matplotlib, pandas and all the necessary libraries are being imported. Okay, I've done that. Okay, so now I need to load my data set. Okay, so to load the data set, I execute this command. Okay, now I need to choose the data set. Okay, so now I'm going to open the data set. Okay, store dot. You can also do it simultaneously. I mean, those who are confident enough, others can just see it right for the time being. The store, this is what I've downloaded from Kaggle, store underscore data dot CSV. So I'm uploading it into your Colab environment. Okay, fine. So now the data is being loaded. So let me read the data. Read underscore CSV. If it is an Excel file, read underscore XLX. Okay. So now this is a command. Head and tail are commands which will help you to read the first 5 rows or the last 5 rows respectively. Head will give you the first 5 rows records, first 5 records. Tail will give you the last 5 records. So you can see the records, right? So these are the items: shrimp, almonds, avocado, vegetable mix, yam. These are all the things in the supermarket. What is this NAN? NAN? But in some places, mostly it is NAN. Here it is there: mineral water, milk. This is the transaction number 3. It's there: mineral water, milk, energy bar, whole wheat. NAN means for it's missing. The values are missing. Okay, so yeah, if you carefully look at the data, you can see the header is actually the first transaction. So the rows correspond to the transaction and each column corresponds to the items purchased. Columns or fields. Okay, you can visualize it as an RDBMS, a relation or a table. Okay, so the NAN tells that the item represented by that column was not purchased in that specific transaction. So that's why it is missing. It was not purchased. Okay, in this particular transaction, this was not purchased or this was not purchased. Okay, so that's what it signifies. Okay, so now since there is no header, so yeah, you are adding a header. For that you have this command. Let's see how it is. Yeah, so now we can see a header 0 1 2 3. You have more clarity now. So that's okay. Then again display the head, the first 5. Okay, now let's start with our data pre-processing. Okay, so yeah, you need to use our data set in the form of list. So when I say list and all, you must be familiar with the Python data sets and data structures and other things. So the whole data set is a big list, and each transaction in the data set is an inner list with you have an outer list also. Okay, so currently it's in the form of pandas data frames. We had imported pandas in the initially. Okay, so we are converting the data frame. Data frame is nothing but just like your relational database. I think I had shown you in one of the classes, empty car data set and all, when we discussed regression analysis and other things. So you're converting a pandas data frame into a list of list by executing this particular step. Okay, so you're applying the a priori algorithm. Next step is to apply the a priori algorithm. Okay, so for that we had imported from the a priori algorithm, library. Okay, so, class requires some parameters to work. Okay, these are all the things. Okay, so let's suppose we want rules for those items that are purchased at least 5 times a day, or 7 into 5, 35 times a week, since our data set is for 1 week period. Okay, so the support for that items, you're calculating it as 45%. 45. So the minimum confidence is 20% or 0.2. Okay, so that way we can set the threshold. Okay, similarly we can specify the value for lift. Anyway, I have not done that. I had mentioned that it's another metric just like a support and confidence. Okay, so lift. Okay, so okay, let's apply the association rule mining. to find the total number of rules mined by the a priori class. How many rules are we see? 48 rules. From the a priori class, you have mined out 48 rules. Okay, so each item corresponds to one particular rule. Okay, so just printing out the results. So you can see here. See. Transaction record, frozen set, chicken, light cream. Ordered statistics, some sort of statistics. The first list in the item is a list containing 3 items. 3 items. The first item on the list shows the grocery items in the rule. Okay. So for instance, from the first item, we can see that light cream and chicken. So you can see here, the light cream and chicken, they are bought together. Okay. Because since people who purchase light cream, they might want to have it along with, they are more likely to buy chicken, white meat instead of red meat or whatever. Okay, so that's what. Okay, the support value, it shows 45%. Okay. This number is calculated by dividing the number of transactions containing light cream divided by the total number of transactions. Confidence is 29%. Okay, so it tells like 4.84. That is a lift. Tells that 4.84 times it's more likely to be bought by the customers who buy light cream. Okay, so people who buy these two things together. So that's the frequent item set. Okay, this is actually the code for this particular code will display the support confidence and lift also. You can see the support and confidence being calculated. See, support and confidence. Chicken implies light cream. So these are all the rules. See, 48 rules were mined. I hope you remember initially I showed you 48 rules. See, the total number of rules that are being mined is 48 rules. Okay, so from the 48 rules, these are the rules. Chicken implies light cream. Mushroom cream sauce implies escalope. Pasta implies escalope. Pepper implies ground beef. Herb and pepper implies, that is A and B implies C. These are the different rules. Okay, so you can see here, these are the 48 rules. Confidence for the 48 rules. Okay, so what it implies is, the first rule we had already seen, chicken and light cream we had seen. So what the second rule was telling, what was the second rule? A mushroom and escalope. I'll just put it up. Yeah, this one. See, they are also frequently brought. Mushroom, cream sauce and escalope. They are also being frequently bought. Okay, the support for mushroom is 57%. The confidence is 0.30. Which means that out of all the transactions containing mushroom, okay, 30% of the transactions are likely to contain escalope. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, so I hope you have understood, got some idea regarding what it is. Have you all understood? No response.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay, good. At least put some message in the chat window. Okay, now I'll just take attendance and then I will come back. Plus, I'll give you a homework. Wait. Take down this. I'll ask you tomorrow, because we are not stopping here. There are some disadvantages for a priori algorithm. So there are some ways. How do we improve the efficiency of a priori? And of course, we have other algorithms too. And then there are some more aspects to be discussed regarding a priori algorithm. So I have given you a basic understanding of what this a priori algorithm is all about, where is it being used in business transactions, and what it means. What do you get as output of a priori? Okay, you are able to get the frequent items, frequently bought items together, you're able to find out. And then from the mined rules, what is the support and confidence for each rule, which are called strong rules, which are called weak rules, which can be considered for targeted marketing, which can be eliminated or which cannot be considered. All those things, all those kind of information we can get from your a priori algorithm. Okay, so please make a note of this. Somebody take a picture of this and post in your WhatsApp group. Hmm? So randomly I'll share a folder, upload this in the folder tomorrow. Find the frequent item sets in the given table with the minimum support count of 50% and confidence of 50%. Okay. So meanwhile, let me take attendance. Have you made a note? Did somebody take a picture? Where is our class rep? Ah, okay. So please put it in your WhatsApp group. Okay. So let me
Okay,
take
ma'am.
attendance. Okay. I'll take attendance. Wait. Okay. So please answer your attendance. Let me stop recording. Santosh, it will be stored in your drive 145. Please share.